Hello everybody, welcome back to a World of Warship Blitz video. In today's video we will be reviewing not this ship but this ship. So there has been a few ships arrive, so I've done a stats review and a battle video which I may or may not get up before this video of the Blitz, the tier 3 British battleship. The tier 9 German battle cruiser, the Siegfried, has arrived in my press account mailbox at the same time as the Iron Duke, the tier 5 British battleship. So of course I'm going to review the tier 5 British battleship first because, well, that's what I've been waiting for. So someone else can do the tier 9 imaginary German battle cruiser. I will deal with this ship here, which is the tier 5 a typical British battleship of World War One. Let's go and have a look. So what I'll be doing is I'll be comparing it against the other tier 5 mainline battleships. Now there are quite a few of those. So when I first started with World of Warships, there was American and Japanese lines, and since then there have been German and French lines added, and now we are just on the cusp of the British, so increasing the number of lines by, well, quite a lot. Anyway, without further ado, let us go and check out the tier 5 British battleship. So all the history stuff. There's some other fantastic channels that will deal with all the history of these ships, so I'm only interested in the game side of it. So let's go. So survivability is 35,000 hit points, damn near. 10% citadel protection, 10% flooding and fire resistance, 12% damage reduction, and 12.6% torpedo reduction. That is because I've picked the elite bonus. So this, by the way, is the elite bonus that I've picked for all the ships that I'll be comparing. So your standard hit points and torpedo damage reduction may not be quite the same as this. Right. And while we're at it, let's do maneuverability, 23.63 knots with the plus 5% speed increase. Time to full speed is 21.77 seconds. Traverse speed is 5.1 seconds, and the turn degrees per second and turn time is nearly 12. Let's see how much of that I can remember. Okay, so this battleship has only 100 less hit points, but it has better citadel protection and fire and flooding resistance by 2.5%. Damage reduction is 13.5 instead of 12.5, and the torpedo damage reduction is an incredible 18.9. However, its speed is much slower, 21.44 rather than 23 point whatever it was. It takes longer to get to full speed by 3 seconds. Maximum traverse speed, I'll have to go back and have a look at this, is slightly faster at 5.2 rather than 5.1, hardly anything in it, and its turn time at 11.18 rather than 11.7 seconds is slightly faster, so a little smidgen better on the turn, much slower, better protection but not quite as many hit points, but I think that protection will more than make up for that hit point, so probably a much tougher ship, much more resistant to damage than the Iron Duke. The Congo, far more hit points, and its citadel protection is the same. Damage and flooding and fire resistance is better. Damage reduction is, I think, the same. It is. And torpedo reduction is basically the same. However, it wins on the speed. Maximum speed 30 knots rather than the 23 and point something, 23.7. 23.63 and 21 seconds to full speed, so really good sprinter, the Congo. Much better agility, maximum traverse speed is 5.6 degrees per second, but the turn time is 12, so it takes a little bit more to get it into the turn, but once you get into the turn it really hauls it around. So in short, more hit points, same sort of damage reduction, or if not slightly better fire and flooding resistance, but far better agility. So the Congo has it all over the Iron Duke, which is not a surprise because the Congo is a great ship. Koenig. So the Koenig comes in short on hit points, has better citadel protection, which is what you'd expect from a German ship. Flooding and fire resistance, damage reduction and torpedo damage reduction are the same, so not as tough, which is a bit of a surprise really, because German battleships are supposed to be brawlers. Maximum speed is roughly the same, time to full speed a little bit slower. Maximum traverse speed and turn time are sort of Congo-esque, so actually a little bit slower on the turn time, but once you get into it they actually turn a lot faster at 5.6 rather than 5.1. In fact, the turn time is exactly the same. Britannia. Okay, not so many hit points and all over worse, either the same, citadel protection and fire and flooding resistance at 10%, damage reduction at 10.5 and torpedo reduction at 11.03, much lower. So a significantly more vulnerable ship. Its speed at 22.1 knots is actually slower than the Iron Duke, so it does come with a speed boost, but good luck with that. Time to full speed 22 seconds, so a little bit slower, slightly slower. Maximum traverse speed is a smidgen more at 5.3, it's going to need it, and its turn time at 10.9 is slightly less than 11 point whatever it was on the Iron Duke, 11.73, but still, yeah, so a little bit better on the agility, but a little bit slower. So all around, a lot more vulnerable, and well, a lot less hit points, so more vulnerable from that perspective. And yeah, got nothing over the Iron Duke from a manoeuvrability perspective. It's only in the higher tiers that French ships become pretty phenomenal. Guns. Let's go back to our baseline ship for the guns. So we have two sorts of guns here. We can't fit them all on the screen, so we'll go through the main guns to start with. So it has 10 dual turrets scattered up and down the ship, so it's going to look pretty familiar with all these other ships that have 10 scattered and dual turrets up and down the ship. Reload time 22 seconds, range 11.7. Now British HE is pretty good, so 1064 for the HE damage, 12% fire chance, which is pretty nice. AP is not so good at 1288. Traverse speed is 4.8 degrees per second, so let's go and have a look at the New York. So these are 343 millimeters, which I'd have to guess is 14 inch-ish, anyway. These are slightly larger at 356 millimeters, 23 seconds reload, so a bit slower but better range at 12 kilometers. HE damage is worse. Fire chance is 10% rather than 12%, still pretty good fire chance, but worse HE by about 60, 70-ish points. Much better AP damage and 4.8 degrees traverse. Citadel damage seems to be pretty constant at 250%. We'll see if that changes. So, yeah, slightly better guns from a point of view of better for brawling other battleships. Longer range, slower reload. Congo, 356 millimeters, so that must be 14 inch. So I guess it must be 13 and a half for the Iron Duke. Anyway, 21 second reload's pretty good. I think that's the same as the Iron Duke actually. No, it's even faster. 12 kilometer range, so basically this has better speed, better toughness, better guns. Wow, okay. Almost the same HE damage, 12% fire chance, which is pretty damn nice, and 1400 AP damage. 6 degrees per second turret traverse speed. Is it any wonder the Congo is my favourite tier 5 battleship? So the poor Iron Duke, you're coming in second there. You may do slightly more damage with your HE, but yeah, not the same reload, not the same AP damage, and the Congo has the same fire chance. Wow. Okay, these tiny little guns, there's 10 of them. So the Congo only has 8 guns, however. So this has 10, so the Iron Duke has 10, so that's a bit of a difference. Here we are back to 10 guns, 305, which is pretty close as anything is 12-inch. Reload time 19 seconds, that's nice and quick. Range 12 kilometers, which is still further than the Iron Duke. So the Iron Duke is the sort of the American heavy cruisers of the battleships, because the American heavy cruisers have really short range guns. Okay, here we go. So those guns do way less HE damage, 8% fire chance, so don't bother firing HE unless you're just up against destroyers. AP is 1176, which is almost equivalent to the Iron Duke, to be honest. So yeah, just the rapid reload on these guns obviously makes a bit of a difference. Turret traverse 6 degrees per second, so quick firing, quick reacting guns on the Koenig just don't expect to do any damage. Right, Britannia compared with the Iron Duke has 340mm guns. What's the Iron Duke? It's 343. 22 second reload time, same as the Iron Duke. Check in. 11.7 kilometre range, way worse HE damage, 10% fire chance, so basically around about 150, 160, 170 less damage per HE round, 10% fire chance, which isn't the same as the 12 on the Iron Duke, and 1277 AP damage, which is roughly equivalent to the Iron Dukes. In fact, it's only 11 off. 5.4 degrees per second, so basically this is a weaker ship all round. It has less, its agility isn't pretty much close to matched because it's maybe slightly better in the turn, but it's a bit slower. Its armour is more pathetic than the Iron Duke, and its guns are, well, not as good. There must be some redeeming feature, or not. So, basically, the Congo comes out ahead. It's just got 2 less guns, so it's got 8 guns instead of 10. And then the Iron Duke, well, it's not too bad. It sits in the middle of the pack. Maybe the New York has a bit better guns for penetrating through battleships, but that 12% fire chance and that pretty high HE damage means the Iron Duke's got pretty good guns. So though it may not be great on the toughness and its agility's sort of okay, its guns, well, its guns are pretty good. Okay, right, especially if you're someone like me. We're not going to be able to fit all the rest of it in. So its concealment is 10 kilometres. I'll just have to remember that and just try and scroll up as I go through the different battleships. Secondaries, it has 12 secondaries, 12 singles, 10 second reload time. Pretty slow, but great range. 150, there's 6-inch secondaries. 5 kilometre range, 336 HE damage, that's pretty nasty. 2% fire chance. And as for the rest of it, the Citadel rate, I've never got a Citadel from a secondary that I can remember. And the turret traverse speed, yeah, okay, then there's secondaries, not that I've ever noticed. So let's just compare those top 4 figures. So there's 12 of them, which I'm assuming means 6 aside. There's there, and the casements up the front. And let's go have a look at the secondaries for some of its compatriots. New York has 16, has more secondaries, 6 second reload time, incredible range, slightly less damage, same fire chance. That's pretty good, to be fair. That's pretty good secondaries on the New York, which is good because I hated the New York and it's one of the few ships I've free XP'd through, and I rage sold because it was just, I want a bit of manoeuvrability in my battleships, to be fair, and it didn't have it. So that's pretty good secondaries, to be fair. A lot of them, fast firing, great range, not that much worse damage. So Iron Duke's got, I thought it had pretty good secondaries. 6-inch secondaries on the Congo, so it's got 14 of them rather than, oh, it's wrong ship there, rather than 12, so it's got 1 more secondary per side, 9-second reload, nice and fast, or a bit faster. 5.28 kilometre range, which seems to be on par with secondaries, maybe a little bit low on the low side for what we've seen so far. 426 damage, which is nice, and 4% chance of setting fire. That is nice secondaries. Okay, which is why I'm trying to get my captain up to level 9 so that he gets secondary dispersion, actually, so I can use him in the Mikasa, to be fair. Right, Koenig, secondaries. These must be AP secondaries because they have no fire chance. 6.9 seconds reload time, real quick. Long range, 5.61. 500, so these are 150mm guns, 500 damage. These are the king hits, but no fire chance. But then again, you know, the 3 and 4% fire chance and the sort of dispersion you got on secondaries is not a lot to write home about. They do light fires on occasion, but these are the ones where if you're fending off a destroyer, doing the extra damage is probably what you're after. It has 7 per side, so 1 more per side than the Iron Duke. Not bad secondaries, but you'd expect that for it to be a German battleship. The Britannia, 5.28. I actually thought the Britannia had fairly good, so it's got the same range as the Iron Duke. 10-second reload, 336, 2% fire chance. For some reason, I seem to quite like the secondaries on the Britannia, and I think I've worked out why looking at that top figure. There are 20 of them, 10 per side. So of course they do a lot of damage because there's a lot more of them. 2% fire chance. So basically the same secondaries as the Iron Duke. It's just got, well, 60% more, roughly. 12 to 20, it's up by 8. A lot more. Right. And the tail end of the video is the AA and the concealment. 72 and 91, so 3 and 1.5 kilometers per, well, it's tier 5, what do you expect for AA, with a 10-kilometer detection range. Detection range on a battleship is almost meaningless because basically, yeah, as soon as you open fire, the gig's up, and besides which, it's not like you can outspot anything apart from another battleship, and well, it's pretty rare that you're in that situation. So let's go and have a look at the Texas, the New York. So 10 kilometer surface detection, better, slightly better large caliber at 101, small caliber slightly better as well, but then again it is tier 5, so there's not a lot in it. Congo has better AA than the Iron Duke. The Congo has better everything than the Iron Duke, to be honest. It's less a small AA, but better a large AA. Surface detection, of course, is atrocious, but then again, if that's the only downside of the Congo, I'll take it, which is why, of course, I've kept it. 10 kilometer surface detection, quite good large AA, 116. Small caliber AA on the Koenig is 73, so yeah, on par. The Britannia, yeah, what AA is that? Yeah, the Britannia is the sick child of this particular cluster. Although I have some very good games in it, so yeah, I'm not sure what's happening there. Anyway, that is the main elements of the ships. So there is no historical camo, unfortunately, being a tier 5. Would be nice to have that in the tier 6. If we go to the Armory, the options that you have in the Armory are for a pretty typical for tier 5 battleship. Hit points +3, small caliber AA +5, torpedo damage reduction +5. So I've taken that for the hit points. Torpedo damage reduction +10 is good, but then again, after a while you become better at dodging torpedoes, and besides which, when you see it in action, there's one reason that it doesn't have to worry about torpedoes that much is because it's got really good HE, and really good HE means, well, destroyers learn to keep their distance. I think the only battleship when I was that didn't have torpedo defense was the Congo, that had an improved reload and turret traverse, which the Congo loves. Anyway, that is the stats review for the Tier 5 British battleship, the Iron Duke. which is available through the Blitz Pass if you have the paid Blitz Pass at tier level 59 or 40. I think 40 actually. Final thing is you have some missions to go with it, which is nice. Play 10 battles, nice and easy. Win 10 battles, shouldn't be too hard. Set a fire 40 times, it shouldn't be hard at all. So there comes with a total of 750 XP to take you up to the next, 7,500 on the way to the next battleship. But by the time you've done that, you should be well and truly on the tier 6 Queen Elizabeth, I think it will be. Anyway, I hope you found that entertaining. Thanks for watching. It's nice and exciting to see the British battleships finally arrive, even if it's only just 2 of them. And yeah, watch out, and I'll put a battle video up shortly. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.